Here come the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power. 3, 2, 1, 8.
On KBLA, James Farr's on the mic, lifting up the people, keeping hope in sight. With Altadena spirit, he fights the good fight, speaking truth to power, shining the light. Flames try to break us, but we're standing tall. Lost our homes, but we ain't lost at all. Through the smoke and the ashes, we see the sun. Altadena's fight has just begun. Begun. We'll rise again. We'll build it strong. Through the struggle, yes, we belong. Hand in hand, through dust and pain, Altadena's heart remains.
Live from Lamert Park, KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to The Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, and I'm your host, James Farr. This is the show of record, and we are chronicling for the nation the devastating and deadly January Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire. I am so appreciative that you are allowing me to share this space with you. You may just be getting your day going, you know, in the house, getting those chores together. Some of y'all out in that backyard on this last summer weekend of 2025. Others may be in the garage tinkering around. I appreciate you allowing me to share this space with you. Before I tell you about today's program, I want to invite you to follow us on social media at KBLA 1580, and you can follow me at James Farr Live across all the social media platforms. And then if you've missed any of our previous episodes, the podcast version of this program and many of the other KBLA programs, they're available where you get your podcast, as we are moving more multimedia around here. Download that podcast, share it with someone. Please do. Coming up today, we're going to talk about, will the recovery be televised, right? You know, it's got a few things that we want to unpack in that. I have a very special guest that's going to be joining us today, but you may be familiar with some of his work from, let's just call it a golden era, I think, of comedy.
Coming at you 6 nights a week, get your laugh on. Yeah, when you wanna get your laugh on, yeah. Get your laugh on. Yeah. Now when you're down and out and you're feeling blue, tell me who you turn it to. Comic View. Ooh, ooh. And when you're stressing out and you lost your boo, tell me who you turn it to. Comic View. Ooh, ooh. And when your cash flow is low
As Hollywood turns its attention to Altadena and to our community, that lens is coming at us. Writer, producer, director Andre Barnwell is going to join us in the conversation. I want to frame up our discussion with who has the right to tell the story, and you kind of heard that other framing on will the recovery be televised. So Andre and I are going to talk about a new project that he's working on that centers Altadena, centers the community, centers local talent and resources. We'll get to him when we come on the other side. Then this past Wednesday, Southern California Edison made an announcement.
SoCal Edison released a plan today detailing payouts for Eaton Fire victims, but there is a catch. To get the money, they have to agree not to sue the utility. And KCAL's Hunter Sowers is live in Altadena, where she spoke to fire victims about whether or not they would take the deal, Hunter.
So this week, Wednesday, Southern California Edison announced some initial information about their settlement fund. I'm going to talk more about that later in the program during our update section towards the top of the hour. But initially, what I'm just going to say is measure twice, cut once. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the program. Excuse me. So a couple of weeks ago, I was in Baltimore, probably one of the blackest cities in this country. And, you know, I had never felt so at home as I did just walking around that community of Baltimore. But I was, you know, out minding my own black business, and something that I thought, you know, I kind of ran through the news cycle and was over with, but I get some alerts that I had been quoted in the Hollywood Reporter and TV Guide's digital platform. My remarks about the proposed sitcom by Kenya Barris and Mike Epps that was slated to, or is slated to be on CBS. We don't know when. I was sent a statement to my colleague Jill Monroe, who has the entertainment show right here on this station, RSVP with Jill Monroe. And, you know, it seems like this thing just continues to stay in the conversation and a part of the conversation. And so, you know, as I'm looking at, you know, who has that right to tell that story. Right? Whose responsibility is that, right? And, you know, as I think about what stories are, and we've talked about using memory as a weapon against erasure. I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. We talk about the responsibility of who is writing, who is directing, who is photographing, who is lighting. We're talking about all of the different components that go into it. Now, I'm not, you know, they call that below the line. You know, some of it's above the directors, producers, actors, the others, what they call below the line. It creates an economy. We've talked about this entertainment, this disaster economy, this disaster capitalism, and also disaster entertainment, right? I'm less concerned about who's making money and what they're doing with the money, because guess what? Everybody in this recovery process is making money. So I don't want to say that one creator shouldn't profit or what they should do with whatever it is that they may make. And, you know, my guest Andre is an expert. I hope he tells me that one TV show can generate $10 billion and get this community back whole. I doubt it. So let's not pocket watch. Let's just be concerned about who's telling the story. And that's what I want to talk about this morning, right? Andre, writer, director, producer. He's an Altadena resident. He's impacted. We're going to talk about that when we come forward. Only on KBLA Talk 1580, We Got Your Black.
He's on his way, he's going to Hollywood, he's busting into Hollywood. Show him the ways, he'll been to Hollywood, he's hopping into Hollywood.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
On January 7th, 2025, the Eaton Canyon Fire scorched Altadena, torching everything in its path. Homes, wealth, and legacy burned in one night. But will Altadena rise from the ashes? I'm James Farr. On the Conversation Live Altadena Rising, we're chronicling the recovery, the resilience, and justice for the nation. This is the show of record, unapologetically progressive. We're not blacking down. So join me, James Farr, on the Conversation Live Altadena Rising every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific with the rebroadcast on Sunday at noon.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio. KBLA Talk 1580.
What you got to say? Say hey, hey, hey. What you got to say? Hollywood swinging.
KBLA Talk 1580. Welcome forward. You're listening to the Conversation Live Altadena Rising. I'm your host, James Farr. We're sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. As I said before we came forward, that my guest today is a writer, a producer, a director, an Altadena resident who was displaced by the devastating fire back in January of this year. And he has a new project that he's bringing forward, television show. And I just heard my rant. I don't know if it was a rant. It was really just me thinking about my thoughts. Sometimes I talk in cursive, but I digress. But anyway, Brother Andre is in the building today, and we're going to unpack this. We talk about this framing. Good morning, Andre Barnwell, brother.
Good morning, James, and thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. You're a bit of an icon, right? You worked on some projects that people would remember, and
I dabbled a little bit in black culture.
At least the funny part of black culture,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Howard graduate,
Exactly.
Philadelphia guy, make your way somehow into Altadena. But we played some sound a little bit earlier, but I want you to set up. How did you become involved with one of the most iconic comedy television shows on cable?
Well,
and I'm talking about BET.
Yeah, BET.
Comic View.
Like I try to tell young people, it wasn't planned. I started out for the University of Houston, so I was a typical transfer student, and transferred to Howard and graduated from Howard.
Mm-hmm.
So
did you get kicked out?
No.
Okay, all right.
But
all right.
I saw the PWI experience, and I
Mm-hmm.
was listening to the last show when they were talking about Delta State.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad I understood that PWI experience,
Mm-hmm.
and then I said, you know what, I really want to have a black experience. I want to know where I fall in line. I've been in integrated scenarios my whole life. I just wanted to find out what kind of where on the black list of numbers that I am. So that's why I went to Howard.
The KBLA delegation probably certainly knows what PWI is, but we have a broader audience on this program that's predominantly white,
right?
University, white institution, right?
Exactly.
And you went the complete opposite Right. I don't even say opposite. That's the wrong framing of it.
Right.
You went to the best place, which would be, and I'm sure Dr. Abdullah, who you just saw passing through here, would agree. You would end up at Howard University and in some cohort with some pretty accomplished classmates, I guess.
You never know who you, and that's why I say you never know who's in your class. I don't care if it's your kindergarten class to your high school class to your senior class at Howard. And I think I sent you a picture of my classmate was Kamala Harris.
Yeah, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. And it and when people were talking about she didn't go to Howard, and I'm just biting my lip like, yes, she did. And she was just like everyone else, young, trying to figure it out.
Right.
You know, and I just say, and that's with all of us. You just never know. That's why you need to be kind to everybody.
Be kind to everybody.
Yeah, you just never know what geniuses are around you, and you know where the judges come from, the lawyers come from, the entrepreneurs come from, and a lot of times, folks, they're right there in your class, trying to figure it out. So,
how's your family doing now? I mean, we're 8.5 months out. You know, you ended up, with I assume with your credits, right? And your success in television and the series that you've worked on, the films you produced and everything. So I assume when you were displaced that you were at like the Ritz-Carlton or the Four Seasons, just kind of chilling, getting things together.
No, I was, you know what, that whole scenario, I never forget. January 8th is the day I left. I didn't get a notification. I know people are talking about notifications, and just to give people context of Altadena, to me there's three pieces. There's the west side, the central area, which is like Lake, Fair Oaks, and then there's the east side, which is closest to Eaton Canyon.
Correct.
And so I'm on the side of like JPL near a canyon.
You were as far west from where the fire started as you possibly could be.
Yeah. But the winds, we get the winds first. So you see the Santa Anas hit us first, and then they wrap around.
Right.
But what people don't understand is, and we're used to our insurance and just where we live, we're used to trees falling, knocking stuff down, because that's just, you sign up for that side of Altadena. But 90-mile-an-hour winds changed the whole. I mean, I have 4 of my street neighbors lost their homes, and they lost their homes on the wind side of our street. So when the wind wrapped around, it took those out. And so
now, Andre, are you avoiding saying that you was at the Ritz-Carlton or the Four Seasons?
Yes, because I was at the Oak Tree Inn in Monrovia. And how I got there, and see, this is just divine intervention, man. That Tuesday, when you're on that side, you tend to not leave because we're used to like at least 1 or 2 days of lights off and burning candles and that kind of stuff. So when they finally turned off the water, I was like, you can't use the restroom when you ain't got no water. So that's the day I left. And I quickly looked online about, where to stay, and it was all filled up. And then in my mind, I said, you know what? Most people in Pasadena are probably going to go to Burbank. They're probably going to go west to find hotels. And so I said, well, I'm just going to get on the 210 and go east and just, because I've seen hotel signs. And literally, I packed up, and it was cool because January 8th, I just came home from the East Coast. So I had some of my stuff was already still semi-packed. If you know anything about bachelors, we don't fully unload everything after a holiday, right? Still stuff was in the bag.
I don't know nothing about that, brother, but go ahead.
Right. And so through the key things in their passport and that kind of stuff, phone charger, laptop. And I just literally got on the road. I was going down to 210 East. I think I saw like a huge Marriott sign. So I turned off the 210. And when I turned off, I couldn't find the sign. Again, I was looking all over for it. Couldn't find it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get back on the 210 and just keep going. And the Oak Tree Inn is right there at the turn to get back on the 210. I said, oh, what the hell? Let me just pull in and see if they got anything. I got the last room on the second floor at the end.
And there were other people that were displaced there as well, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
It was packed, and the guy behind me, the manager came up and said, sorry, sir, he took the last room. And so that became my home, the Oak Tree Inn in Monrovia, with a Chick-fil-A across the street and a shrimp bowl. A Target was on the other side, like it's kind of Duarte, Monrovia. And that's where I stayed, in a flat screen TV in a bed where you could sit and watch it. So that was my Four Seasons.
I mean, I mean, it was at that point, right? You're in this hotel,
Yes.
Motel.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a Holiday Inn,
Right.
but the Oak Tree Inn, right? You had this idea,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're a creator,
Right.
you're a writer, you're a storyteller,
Right.
And so you had this idea, as I was reading about, that you wanted to create this show,
Right.
This drama,
Mm-hmm.
right, that centered Altadena and centered young people. But before I get to that, right, I really
Okay.
want to understand that.
Sure.
We started the top of this show,
Mm-hmm.
and it had made headlines.
Right.
Kenya Barris and Mike Epps,
Right.
two people I'm sure you know.
Right. Kenya worked for me when we did BET Live. He doesn't mention that when he does his interviews, but now it's time to pull out receipts.
Time to pull out receipts.
Yeah.
Can you work with him? You're
Yeah.
familiar with Mike Epps and his comments.
Yes.
So
Definitely.
I wasn't attacking them, right?
Right.
In terms of their comedy, their profession, or anything.
Right.
I didn't think then, we're talking
Right.
about 3 weeks ago,
Right.
a damn thing was funny. Is it funny now? Like, what's the space for that kind of show?
Right. You know what? And I applaud that they want to help, right? Because the whole idea for people like us, we want to bring economics based on what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think about that. I just think that format is huge. So when I looked at what I wanted to do, comedy as the genre didn't come up. That even though I come from a comedic background, I knew it couldn't be a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it had to be a drama because I'm a storyteller that does fictional storytelling. So
help me understand. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
we don't know the difference, right?
Okay.
Maybe we just cut the TV on or the app on and watch. I mean, now, obviously we can laugh at a drama,
right.
And a comedy can also have some dramatic flair.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So what's the difference between a drama and a sitcom, and like contextually, how does that fit in this scenario?
Exactly. Well, the best way to say that is think Martin, think the Parkers, think comedy. It's joke after joke after joke after. It's a situational comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It is built that way. That's what it is. Dramas, you think of legal shows, medical shows. You can have funny moments, and there's fun happens in drama. But the drama just gives you a better latitude because the whole idea of being Altadena is I knew I didn't want to trigger people, right? So I didn't want to create a show where, yes, someone from Nebraska can watch it, but someone who's locally watches it's a trigger. Mm-hmm. And I was sensitive about the trigger, and I knew that a drama would allow a lot more room as opposed to a sitcom where I think jokes, it's just not – I mean, just like you're not going to do a situation comedy in Pacific Palisades. You're not going to do a situation comedy in that flooding that happened in Texas. Mm-hmm. Not because there's something wrong with the format. It's just that you're tying it to something that they just don't blend well. You do that somewhere else. So it's not a bad type of thing, but it's not the kind of thing that I think that you put in an environment like this because you're kind of commemorating. It's like you wouldn't do a sitcom with 9/11. A show on 9/11. You do a drama because it allows a little bit more room to express yourself. And then the other format for I think Altadenans and just people that are involved in trauma that's what documentaries and docuseries are for because they are those are truth-telling series. So they're going to go one-on-one. They have to be truthful. So what I'm doing and what Kenya was doing, those are fictional aspects of storytelling. Mm-hmm. But one, to me, is just a little bit, it allows a little bit more room because you can kind of tell a story. But for me, because this is so fresh, drama allows you to have just a little more breath about it.
So when this I want to go back a little bit because we frame this up in asking who has the right to tell the story, right? My opinion changed on Kenya after learning that at one time he had residency or roots.
Okay.
Right. I think that's kind of the way it's phrased.
Okay.
I don't know what that means, but I certainly know that you have residency currently, right? So we kind of get in this tug of who has the right to tell the story. So does it matter if someone is from the area, has a tie to the area versus, the folks who over in Century City writing checks and at the studios? Right. Where does that play into it?
Well, you know what? It helps. I've been there 25 years. So bought my house in 1999, moved in 2000. So it helps because the whole idea of the community is you have these people from the outside, the governor, Magic Johnson, even Scott Mills from BT said they wanted to bring economics to that community. Sure. Well, it helps to have someone that's there that understands the economics, because you can write the check and do it in such a way that it doesn't really help the whole community. So it's helpful that you're current in there. It's like when I drove in today, I'm still driving past empty lots with like little pools in the back and sunlight. So it does help. And again, to me, it's about what you're doing. So it's the format of the show is much more important. But because it's a major thing and these dollars are supposed to be coming in here, it helps that you have someone who still understands what we lost.
We're going to pick that up when we come forward, because I want to talk about who should benefit, who's participating, and how your show you think is going to benefit Altadena. Stay with us. News is up next, only on KBLA Talk 1580, your ancestors' favorite radio station.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580. This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Hey! Hey, it's Fun Albert, and I'm gonna sing a song for you, and Bill's gonna show you a thing or two. You'll have some fun now with me and all the gang, learning from each other while we do our thing. Gonna have a good time.
This is Bill Cosby coming at you with music and fun. And if you're not careful, you may learn something before it's done. Hey, hey, hey.
KBLA Talk 1580. Welcome forward. You're listening to the Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, and I'm your host, James Farr. And we're sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. I got brother Andre Barnwell, who is a Philly native. Well, kind of sort of Philly, right? Philly-ish?
Yeah, born at the Philadelphia Naval Hospital.
Okay, all right. Well, that counts.
All
That definitely counts. So I want to bring you a little bit of a call back, comedic call back with that theme of Fat Albert, right? The Fat Albert thing. And if folks are listening to this program, they may learn something too. Right.
There you go.
So we were talking before we came forward in terms of you're talking about the drama that you're creating, right? We've talked about, does it matter who tells the story? Will this recovery be televised? Right. But you're intentional with what you're doing with your production,
right?
Tell us about how you see it benefiting the community.
Exactly. So my intention, as a storyteller and understanding when you do production on location, like how many more dollars that you can bring. So whatever I was going to do, it was going to be shot on location. So what does that do? So that means above the line people, below the line people, the trucks, this entity is going to go into that community, and those dollars are going to be spent locally. You're not going to, if you need supplies, you're not going to go to Hollywood to get your supplies. You're going to go down on Colorado Boulevard. You're going to have local catering. So my whole thing about shooting on location, wherever we shoot, you're going to improve that location, because in order to shoot something, a lot of times you got to clean it up. And when you clean something up, you leave that. So you'll leave infrastructure. So I knew that was going to be what I wanted to do, because to me, that's how the state and philanthropists who have good intentions, if they give dollars to something like that, that's going to land. It's not going to be in a studio in Burbank. It's going to be shot there. You could do post-production there, and then I can hire, because there's a lot of talented people in the business that are in that area, right?
I know a great radio host from out there.
Right. See, there you go.
Yeah,
you know, you can maximize the types of people that you can employ.
So a sitcom would be more of a studio environment, controlled environment on a set, right?
Typically,
right. Okay.
Now you can shoot on location, but to me, that it's the funny part that just X's that out. That just it's not the right format, because it's going to trigger. It already has. It's triggering. Right. So you're not going to de-trigger people. It's just going to get worse.
Well, let me let the cynic in
for
just a second. I hear you hiring local, right? Talent, below the line folks in all the different spaces. But the stores are gone. The people are gone. So does that mean that the people who will get the jobs are not the actual local people? What I'm saying is it's not Treme, right? We're not in New Orleans.
Right.
It's not Baltimore,
right?
Where, they're hiring for The Wire or, many other type of the location's gone.
Right. Well, you have, you still have, there's still food places that are left. There's still the talent who has been there, and they can come back to do that. So you still have local thing, and if it can't be local specific to Altadena, Altadena is positioned interesting where Pasadena is right at its foot. So you still are bringing in local things, and for me, it's not just a drama, but it's a teen drama. So when I was in Monrovia at the One Tree, the Oak Tree Inn, I saw there was a news coverage, and they were interviewing these young women who are softball players at Muir. And one of the things that triggered for me that says, this needs to be a teen drama is you could tell that, they're living with their grandparents, they're scattered all over the place, but the one thing they wanted to do was get some sense of normalcy back, and they saw that through their teammates. And I said, you know what? Of all the people that are not really getting a voice in this, it's the young people. We talk about them, we preach to them, we tell them not to do this, not to do that. And I said, well, what if in my world I could create a format where I can do a show where local auditions, and I can create new stars. And so I'm like, now, and the reason why I'm confident about that is, I'm on the advisory board at John Muir High School.
I was just going to say, so you're with young people.
Exactly.
You're with the high school students.
Yes.
Through the is it Arts and Media Academy?
Yeah, AEM Academy, Arts, Entertainment, and Media.
Okay.
And so, and I volunteer for that. So, when you're saying about like who could tell the story more, I'm entrenched in what I see in that world. And I'm a big believer in staying in your lane. So I've put a lot of commitment into the next generation, passing the baton.
What do you say to those who say it's too soon? Or when is the appropriate time?
Well,
right?
remember, it's not too soon in the sense that, remember, mine is fictional. So I'm actually, even the high school that I've created for the show, there is no high schools in Altadena. So I made sure I have just enough room so that you could kind of see the story. And I wanted to give young people a sense of normalcy without having to make it it's not a fire teen drama show. It's a teen drama show set in Altadena and with local casting. That was my way of kind of giving something back from the way that I did. Because remember, the documentarians haven't come yet. The docuseries haven't. Those are ones that are going to actually, those are the truth-telling formats. That's just not a format that I do. So that is another one for the traumatized. Those formats are much better for that. And so what I'm trying to do is separate those things, not to blur that in, because you just can't have one thing that does all.
Let's settle this, because I know this is like a burning question, because people kept talking about the economics, right? I talked about the economy around it. I mean, can a TV show generate enough money to make Altadena whole?
No, not by itself.
Okay, all right.
No.
So then that's all we got to say.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes,
it could help some, right? I mean, I don't know.
Oh yeah. Well, number one, it puts Altadena back on the map in a different kind of sense where you are putting money in. The goal of a show is you want it to go at least five years. I mean, any producer wants to have 5 seasons. You start with 1, and you just kind of with the networks kind of deal with it. But it signals for other things to start to come back as well. So one of the schools that I was looking at to make it into the high school is already kind of having some structural issues. So the mere fact that I want to shoot there, then the city and the county is going to be like, you know what, let's get that school up to speed because we have this outside entity that's going to shoot there, and then it becomes a tourist kind of a thing. So as everything else starts to slowly come back, the businesses, to me, will come back much quicker than a lot of the homes, because where I live, I mean, just the sheer amount of labor for every home, I'm like, unfortunately, you didn't scared a lot of the people who would have built those. They gone. They back in their own countries. So the individual home part, but that corridor, that Fair Oaks, Lake Corridor, commercial's a quicker thing to bring back. So it is even with Kenya, the attempt is to at least have a component of economics from what we do to touch and this part of the community.
In my final few seconds with you, and I'm gonna have to cheat the clock on this just a little bit. Okay. 2 things. One, how can people reach you if they're interested in the project? But the last question I want to ask you is, and we've asked fire survivors this: how are you sustaining your hope?
I'm an optimist. I was born on Valentine's Day, so my thing is just, and I think the quickest way I can kind of share this is a visual. When I was driving down the street coming here, part of the place that was devastated, there's like 5 oak trees, like in a row. They're all singed around the edges. All the leaves are burnt, but at the very top of the crown, it's green. So even nature is starting to reset itself. And so my whole thing is like, folks, I know it's rough. You just got hanging in there. We'll take it one day at a time and just keep moving forward. Again, what I do like about the legal system, they haven't forgot the area, so they're still, because sometimes you got to have legal people to speak for you, because private corporations don't necessarily. How can
people reach you if they're interested in the program? I mean, in your show.
Oh, well, I have a YouTube channel. You're doing that thing, and so at TWW, the way we do it, TV. So it's at TWW, DITV. That's the easiest way to get.
Y'all stay connected with me on Instagram, and I'll make sure.
And James,
I will make sure that you get connected with brother Andre. Andre, thank you so much for being here with us today, man. Best of luck with this project. I look forward to it. I should have said this earlier. I wasn't a fan at first, but I am now, right? And I appreciate you coming in here. When we come forward, I have some updates from our Altadena Rising, only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got your black.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power. When the flames subside, who ensures that the stories endure? At KBLA Talk 1580, we're committed to preserving the voices that shape our community. We know people have short memories, and as long as this Black Talk radio station is on the air, we will not let Altadena be forgotten. We are honored to announce that the Altadena Historical Society will officially archive our recent town hall, alongside every episode of Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr. This is the show of record, the definitive source for tracking Altadena's roots, resilience, recovery, and reunion. These stories will now live on for students, scholars, researchers, and journalists seeking truth and legacy in the months and years to come. Because history isn't just made, it's honored, it's recorded, and it's passed forward. We're KBLA Talk 1580. and we've got your black. At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth.
Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
Time for some action. Time for some action. Time for some action. Come on. Time for some action. 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 Let's get
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to The Conversation Live, Altadena Rising. I'm your host, James Farr. We're sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. It's that time in the program where I give you some updates, and you can get more updates at Altadena Rising over on the Instagram page. Ashley and Taylor and their entire team do an excellent job of curating, vetting, and sharing non-siloed resources and information. Next Saturday, the 27th, I invite you to join me as I will be emceeing the 26th annual Chris Holden Community Resource Fair and Block Party. It's in the 500 block of Jackson Street, and it starts at 2 p.m. and it goes until 6 p.m. And if you know anything about the former Assembly members' annual block party and community resource fair, it is a good time had by all. It's family friendly. There's always food and games, some great music, and just, community getting together and enjoying themselves. So make sure that we see you next Saturday too. That's the 27th in the 500 block of Jackson Street in Pasadena. It's Chris Holden's 27th annual community resource fair and block party, and I'll be emceeing. Also coming up on October 4th is the Black Education Expo at the Pasadena Convention Center. We're looking forward to hearing from one of the organizers, Victoria Williams, next week to tell us, how kids are doing, what resources are available to them, as well as a myriad of things that are for our children in education. And I told y'all this fifth grade Common Core math is making me feel real dumb right now. So I encourage you to come out to that. And then also, as I said earlier, that Southern California Edison has announced some preliminary details about their settlement fund. I'm still processing it. You can count on us unpacking it and bringing you more information about it. But for those who don't have a stake in it, let me give this way. I told y'all earlier, and I'm literally sitting here with something on my chest that says, minding my own black business. I want y'all to mind your own business, because the decisions that people will have to make are personal, they're individual, no two are the same. They don't need you in their ear. You're not 8.5 months either with your house completely gone, your memories erased, or your house is standing, but you can't go home because it's a toxic dump. You don't have to think about soil remediation. You don't have to think about spending the 10 to 12 hours Elder Martin Gordon says he spends in retirement trying to assemble his life. Mind your own black business. When we come forward, I got a message in the music. Y'all know how we do it. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We ain't blacking down.
Burn, Hollywood, burn. I smell a riot going on. First the guilty, now they're gone. Yeah, I'll check out a movie, but it'll take a black one to move me. Get me the hell away from this TV. All this news and views are beneath me. So all I hear about is shots ringing out about gangs putting each other's head out. So I
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Recently, I listened to a Tavis Smiley show conversation with James Farr. At one point, James said something that caught me off guard. Not because it wasn't true, but because it is. Black Altadena is gone. I know it may seem stupid and non-productive, but I stopped in that moment listening to Tavis and James. I broke down and cried. In the back of my mind, I told myself we can bring it back like it was. But James Farr's reality check hit me like a ton of bricks. My community is being murdered. I said murdered, not by the Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire, but by the people we elect to protect us, and by greedy and gatekeeping nonprofits who cannot see the forest for the trees. For the first time since the fire, I truly feel and understand my wife's inconsolable pain. Because I'm struggling to find a path to recovery and at least some form of normalcy. My community is crumbling right in front of my face. Lack of funding to rebuild is slowly destroying us. Many of us can no longer hold out, and developers are gobbling up our property. When I hear voices like Tavis Smiley and James Farr speak truth to power on KBLA Talk 1580, it reminds me that we're not crazy, just unheard. Make no mistake here, KBLA delegation, this is war, and we the people of Black Altadena are losing. It's like waiting for reparation. Not gonna happen, brother. In this new orange man world, no one, no entity is persuaded by right or wrong. There is no consequence for doing the wrong thing, and no accolades or support for doing the right thing. Will war-torn Black Altadena survive? Your guess is as good as mine. But what have I got to lose? I'm in my 70s and don't have time to wait. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once suggested that riots break out when people have no hope. But there's nothing left to burn down in Altadena. I wish I could say I remain hopeful that my beloved community will rise again like a phoenix from the ashes. I wish I could. With a KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Pasadena Community Coalition at gmail.com. Reach out to me. As always, we welcome your feedback.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Be heard. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to The Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, and I'm your host, James Farr. We are sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. So first I want to thank Brother Andre for joining me this morning and talking about his new project that he has. It's a drama, right? You know, using a fictional story, but it's set in Altadena, and it's really, as he explained to you, his words, not mine, it's a resource coming back to the community where he is looking to source talent from the community, right? And so I know this conversation had kicked up some other things about who has the right to tell the story and who owns the story. And we, kind of played with, will the recovery be televised? Should it be televised? And I don't know if we necessarily have an answer to that, but I'm a storyteller and I believe in speaking the truth. And so I think about this, just breaking free and telling the story.
They tried to skip my story, but I burned the page. No box, no border can cage my flame. I'm breaking free, I'm breaking free.
tonight. No box, just wings. I was born to
They try to cage my mind, pin me to a trope, but I'm a kaleidoscope, refracting through the scope. Born in Compton streets, where the eyes tilt hard, still I rise with the message, breaking every guard. I'm not your savior, not your villain, not your king. I'm the echo of the voiceless, hear the freedom ring. They said pick a lane, street of scholars pen, but I'm both. Plus the ghost of what's within. My bars are hieroglyphs, carved in time's embrace. Decode the pain, rewrite the human race. No box can hold the weight of what my soul's been through. I'm the paradox, the spark that burns the truth. They want me bound by labels, chained to their design, but I'm a comet, crossing borders of the mind. No frame can trap the spirit when it's meant to soar. I'm Kendrick, breaking boxes, setting souls.
They tried to skip my story, but I burned
Breaking free. I mean, y'all, I know y'all never thought. And this is not the traditional Saturday slap. It's a new song. That's Kendrick Lamar. That is Jay-Z. That is Kanye West. And my new favorite white boy on that sings Jelly Roll. Big shout out to the team that makes this happen. Kim, Nyla, Reggie. Tiana does the graphics. Simeon, thank you for the music and working these boards out. Angela Roddick Wright is up next with the Legal Lens. She has an amazing show for you. Stay with us only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got your black.
No label fits the man who sees beyond the rules. Turn struggle into schools, turn dreamers into jewels. They want me in their box to dim what I ignite, but I'm a beacon. Guiding kin through endless night. I'm not my wealth, my wings, or what they think they see. I'm the blueprint.